guys listen to this and you imagine that you guys are in like little spacesuits? Like, do you guys imagine like you are Chilluminats? Like you're like astronauts?
Why can't they be like
Chillumiverse?
Why can't they be like BC boatsmen sailing the ocean? The Argonauts.
I don't know what
The Argonauts.
Okay. A BC boatsman sounds like some kind of like boat impresario from the Chicago World's Fair.
BC boatsmen.
BC boatsmen's in electronic canoes.
Oh my God. I know we got some fun stories to get to today. But I want to say I'm so proud of all my listeners. I got a DM today on Twitter that I just want to read real quick because it is just, you're clearly learning
Now,
and
how
you're clearly
can you say
picking up.
all? Because I don't know, that seems like a stretch to me.
I imagine this one person speaks for the tens of thousands
I
of people
hope
that
it's like,
listen to it.
listen up, Chilluma bitches.
Says, hey, not sure if you noticed in the news, but the popes over in the Middle East doing pope things like making peace between religions. Clearly, this is a step in the disclosure process to unite major religions of the world before severely altering the biggest missing piece, aliens, to solidify unity on Earth. So thank you.
Right.
I agree. That is true.
Rail was right, baby.
The Raelians were right.
No, we should be having that much sex with anyone that we want.
No,
we should be using. Oh, no.
Okay. No.
Got it.
Not anyone. Not anyone. Jesse Cox. What?
I thought anyone.
Jessica. Look, y'all can do that crappy voice.
My little Chilleshi knots. Chilleshi knots.
Chilleshi knots? My little Chilleshi knots.
I hate that.
Do that next time. Hello, my little Chilleshi knots.
Hello, Chilleshi knots.
Hello, boys and ghouls.
What'd you bring me today for the Chill Mini? Bring me your sacrifices, gentlemen.
Okay, so this there was a thing that happened this week on the Twitters that I want to bring you guys in on if you guys missed it. There is a TikTok user called Samantha Hartso, something like that. And there was a Twitter account called Shay Mills that picked it up and it went viral. And the TikTok is that she is like inside of her like New York apartment and she's like feeling this like sort of like
I saw
breeze.
this. Oh,
yeah,
so
this
good.
is crazy. She's feeling this breeze coming from like her
Yes, I did see
like
this. Okay, sorry.
the side of her door or something. She doesn't know what it is. And then she eventually realizes like there's like vents in her house and none of those are really like causing the wind. They think it's coming out of the light switch. They're like, what the hell is going on? And then they realize it's behind the mirror. So then that's like the first TikTok was like, cause you know, they can only be like a minute long. Right. So she sees this, like, she feels this like wind coming out from behind her mirror. The next TikTok is her like removing the mirror. And there's like a sort of like eye height square hole in the wall that leads into an open room behind the mirror. And then also like a doorway beyond that leads to who knows where. And they're just like, is there somebody living in here? You know, like we always go through those stories of people like living in people's attics and stuff, like, you know, and so they're like, what the hell is this? And then the account goes dark for like 12 hours or something like that. And everybody on the internet was like, what the hell is happening? Did they die when they went in there? Like, what is going on? Because it literally ends with them like being like, here we go. So that was like crazy. I was there for this as this was happening. So I was like, I followed this person. I was like, what is going on? What's happening? The next morning, another one goes up where she tries to climb in. Her hips like don't quite fit through the door, which is like really funny. This is like classic me climbing out of a window. So she goes 1 foot after the other and gets her like 1 foot on one side of the wall stuck and the other foot on the other side of the wall, which is like classic me. And then she crawls inside and she's like, oh my God, there's like stuff in here. So she goes inside. And inside the wall is an entire other apartment. And inside the apartment, there's like trash. Some stuff is like stuff that people have been using. There's like some like a water bottle there that's like not that old.
It's like a core water bottle.
Yeah, and the reason there's wind coming through her mirror is because all the windows in this apartment are wide open. Which is like crazy, right? This is like in a New York apartment thing. And I don't know what kind of rent she's paying for this fucking place. Maybe this is like the COVID, like prices going down type thing. But she's in this place that is like, must be beautiful because this other apartment has like a downstairs. It's like a condo vibe. It leads to another doorway somewhere else in her building. She's able to walk out into her building and then walk back up to her apartment, like through the building. But it's just like a totally empty apartment behind her apartment. And it was unbelievable. And I wish that you all got the chance to be along on that ride. Nobody knows exactly why there's that going on, but some people say that, for some apartments, they have like alternate entrances to apartments for when you're not home so they can come in and fix stuff, which is like really creepy. And some people are worried that she's going to get higher rent, which I guess can happen in New York for this type of reason. Because technically she found another house inside her house in a way. But can you imagine like finding like an apartment inside your bathroom mirror?
I don't know what to think. I feel like I'd freak out once I saw a water bottle in there, honestly.
Yeah, like I'd be like, oh, somebody's here. Somebody's here.
Yep, bye.
Did I tell you about the bridge that the guy went inside of? Did we do that on here? Like the Reddit post where the guy goes inside the bridge? I can't remember.
So I think you told us about something very similar, but it might have also been a tube in there's so many of these.
He finds like a bloody condom in the corner and like a porn on the wall that like has like weird like serial killer stuff onto it.
Nope,
we did not.
That might have been one that I left out of the 69 episode. I can't remember.
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
Wow.
Jesus, that's creepy as shit.
People finding shit inside their walls is a great rabbit hole to go down on the internet, by the way.
I'm gonna lighten the mood a little bit with a story from a viewer, from a listener rather, over on the subreddit, simply titled "My Talks with God."
Oh my!
By Toxic Mischief. I like the name. A few weeks ago, I had an unusual dream. Now, I'm not a believer in God, but I'm not one to immediately say believing in something like that is dumb. So why God would want to talk to me is something he would only know. I say he because it'll make sense in context a little later. Anyways, I remember being in an all-white and endless space, very ethereal. And in front of me was a white chair, like a tall backed throne. Originally, there was no one there, and then, as with most dreams, suddenly there was. And it was Morgan Freeman.
What? It was like the god from Bruce Almighty?
Yes. Yes.
What?
Now, I know this sounds silly, and I'm well aware of that. I asked why I was dreaming about Morgan Freeman and was told he had taken on the appearance of someone that would be more acceptable to my mind.
I have taken on the appearance of somebody more acceptable to your mind.
I have taken on the appearance of Morgan Freeman. It was Morgan Freeman, and God, that's wild. Through a short conversation, I had begun to trust Morgan, and so he asked how he could help.
Like you're on a first name basis.
He showed up. Listen, if Morgan Freeman showed up in my dreams, like maybe we would be.
Morgan. Hello.
So I started to tell him about the things bothering me, my job, money woes, and a friend who had become ill, and I had no idea knowing how she would be. To which he assured me he would make sure she was okay. The last thing I remembered, Mr. Freeman telling me. You see, he went from Morgan to Mr. Freeman.
I would be losing my shit this whole dream. I'd be like, what are you doing here? Why are you the one from Bruce Almighty? The real God does Morgan Freeman too? I saw the film and I was just so inspired.
The last thing I remember Mr. Freeman telling me was that it was time to wake up. And so I did. I looked at my phone and saw it was only a few minutes before my alarm was to go off. All through the day, I couldn't help but think about the dream I had, but never really expected anything else. That was until last night. As of writing this story is from 24 days ago. So 25 days ago, we have a Morgan Freeman update. That benevolent Morgan Freeman came back. This time he was curious of how things had gone.
Is there any other kind?
Yeah, I was about to say.
This time he was curious of how things had gone since our previous talk. Asked how my job was going, and I told him I was looking for something as a graphic designer, which, hey, if anyone could help me out, wink, wink.
What?
That I was still struggling financially, but felt steadier, and I was still keeping my friend and my thoughts in my heart. Again, he told me it was time to wake up as I was going to be late, and so I did. An hour after my alarm, but still enough time to get ready and to make it work. Now, I don't really have any solid explanation for this, Why would God visit a non-believer just to check in? So it has to be aliens, right? Yes, sir. You are correct. Yeah, I'm not so certain. Honestly, I think it was my brain subconsciously forming a sort of dream therapist to just help out and get things that I'd been ruminating on sorted, which if that's the case and it wasn't something a little more out there, then I'm actually proud of my brain because I've woken up since those dreams more motivated, albeit slightly confused. So I tried to keep this somewhat short. Anyways, I hope you enjoy reading about my talks. And if he shows up again, I'll be sure to let you know.
I think
Ask
that's
him
great.
why he's in Now You See Me Too. If you talk to him again,
Money.
ask him why he said yes to that one.
Man had to pay some bills.
I was gonna say, every actor has a movie or two under their sleeve that's just pure money.
I love that story. I think that's great. It doesn't matter if it's God or if it's aliens, if it's just his brain. The idea that like in his brain, a motivational, like at night while he sleeps, a motivational Morgan Freeman comes in and is like,
so
you've got this. Like, I think that's awesome. I think that's so cool.
I do too.
I don't even
really
care what the answer is. I just like that it's happening.
You want to know something fucked up though? You know that movie Last Vegas, like the old guys in Vegas movie with like Robert De Niro and stuff?
Yeah.
That movie came out 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Well, you know,
that was supposed to be like his like old guy.
Yeah.
You know, we're done with the film industry, but he's made like 10 movies since then.
Yeah.
What is a man who only knows acting going to do when he retires from acting?
Not act.
You know?
Fucking sit in a chair in a beautiful house and look out over the ocean because people out in the world love you so much that they imagine you're God.
I mean, yeah, very true. Jesse,
yo, okay.
I hand the baton to you.
Well, as we all know, catnip repels insects. It has been a fact for
what?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And
all right.
I say that because I think people in the audience would, but I don't know that we're out there like the three guys who know this. But apparently it is a fact. Catnip repels insects.
All right.
Now scientists have finally figured out how exactly it does it. So there's an active component, something in catnip that causes insects to like run away in fear.
Like cinnamon vibes?
Kinda. So basically there is something in all animals, from flatworms to people, that is dubbed TRPA1. And it's like a thing where essentially it's how we respond to the environment and irritants within it, like heat, cold, tear gas, wasabi, like all those things. It's how we respond to things that like, it's the part of our body that's like, this is not good. We need to, oh no, let's go. Right. It's the part of your body that's like, we got to get out of here. And catnip has that effect on bugs. Yet, for some reason, is euphoric on felines. Same thing when you talk about like spicy food, right? For humans, we're like, yeah, spicy food. But other animals are like, that's insane. Get away from that.
Spice me out.
Yeah. And so studies, you know, they've done this before, that has shown that catnip is widely used by many people in many places to like keep insects out. But they never really knew why. They never really could figure it out why. So what they did is they did a study because science is awesome. And they were like, let's pull apart catnip genetically and compounds and all the shit. And let's figure out what inside catnip causes this. And so it's something called nepetalactone. Nepetalactone?
Is that Klingon?
It sounds like it. And basically what they did, things they were like, they put it on one side of a petri dish, and then the other side would be empty, and like fruit flies would lay eggs on the empty side. Mosquitoes, if you put two hands in a I don't know, a test area, the hand covered in the nepetalactone, no mosquitoes would try to draw blood from that hand. That kind of thing, where they would just keep testing. And what they did is, I think is the coolest part, is then they took insects that had been genetically modified to lack TRPA1.
What?
And they had no of like the plant didn't bother them. So they basically figured out like, all right, we know exactly what it is and something else, right? They took out the part, like they science the shit out of it. They like removed parts of
Finally,
life. Yeah.
Bugs can enjoy catnip now. Finally.
Well, I'm sure that was lab, and I'm pretty sure they're all dead. But yeah, and so they suggest that the TRPA1 in insects that is triggered there is because of nepetalactone, which is a crazy thing to say. And so shout out to Northwestern University and all the people there who did that, and how they were talking about just catnip didn't evolve in some way to keep insects away, right? Like, because people were like, well, why would catnip do that? Because insects aren't like going to catnip and like, yeah, we're gonna destroy this plant. I think maybe it just like came that way because of other things nibbling it, right? Like, plants create spicy seed pods, which is what peppers are really, because things would come along and eat them. So at some point in its long history, catnip, something was eating it, who knows what, and now modern day insects are afraid of it because it genetically modified in some way. And I think that's fascinating. And now we know that, for some reason, maybe it could literally be, I don't know. I was like Sabretooth. So who knows what originally caused it to like become that way. But here we are. And so I think it's fascinating.
Tigers pissing on.
Who knows?
And thus catnip was born.
Yep.
Fascinating. Well, thank you so much for bringing us all those wonderful things. And thank you for that wonderful Morgan Freeman God story. We very much appreciate it.
Very good stuff.
We'll be back next week. Thank you, patrons, for supporting us as always. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Peace. Peace.
Thanks to Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode. And after years of fine print contracts, aren't you sick of getting ripped off by the big wireless providers? If you've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch, right? So when we first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month, we thought, yeah, what's the catch? But, after actually using the service and speaking with them and checking it all out, it actually made sense. There really isn't one. And the only secret to why that is, it's because they're the first company to sell wireless only online. They cut out retail stores, so there's no crazy overhead costs for them that get passed down to you in the form of mystery fees. Instead, Mint just passes on those amazing savings directly to you. For people looking for extra savings, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. And if you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/chill. That's mintmobile.com/chill. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/chill. I certainly don't regret it. Hello, my little Chilluminats, and welcome to the next Chill Mini, episode 42.
I'm not even complaining about it anymore. I'm not even gonna worry.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jesse.
People seem to just love it when you're a pervert.
We're probably just pulling in some sort of sick ASMR demo.
Call me a lech. It's better. It sounds cool.
Lech.
You lech.
I'm not I'm like an old witch trying to like, you lech. No.
I'm channeling that Revenge of the Sith Palpatine.
Yeah, no,
that was very palpsy.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Chill Mini, all my wonderful patrons. Thanks so much for your support as always. I don't know what the boys have, but I've got a dream interpretation for Jesse this week.
I've got a little article if you want me to jump in real quick.
Yeah, let's start with the article then.
Yeah, okay. So this is about Dyson spheres, which I don't know if you remember about Dyson spheres. But
there's a game in early access called the Dyson Sphere Project you can play right now.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Then I don't need to explain any further. No, I'm just kidding.
That's it.
Remember there was like the Tabby Star a couple months ago or something where people were looking at it and they were like, I don't know what's going on with this star. There's something going on with it. One guy was like, I think there's a giant Dyson sphere built around it, harvesting it. You guys remember this conversation?
Yep. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
So that concept of putting a Dyson sphere around a star is like the point of this story, but it's used in a totally different way because this guy, Alexei Turchin, who's like a transhumanist, has like self-published a paper about extending human life. And basically they're looking at this way of bringing people back to life via a quantum random generator. Okay. So if you think about a resurrection of all people who ever lived based on the principle of using the quantum random generator to create a random mind within a computer, and you use the many worlds interpretation to imagine that all possible minds that ever were resurrected as that mind in different timelines, it creates a sort of immortality that people talk about sometimes called immortality for self, where obviously like it's not like a consumer resurrection where like, oh man, my grandpa died, I want to just resurrect him so I can be with my grandpa again. Mm-hmm. But it does solve the problem of my grandpa dying and then being reborn exactly how he was in a computer somewhere so that he can now continue existing forever. Right. And theoretically, if you think about the fact that there's infinite universes, doing it once in one universe using a quantum random number generator does it in all universes using super intelligent AI. But the amount of energy that it would require to do something like that would require the type of energy that you would need to get from building a Dyson sphere around a star. You probably couldn't do it around our star because it would probably fuck up everything.
Life on Earth?
Yeah. But, you know, it's obviously just like in the same sort of zone as like cryogenic stuff where it's like we got the idea and we got half of it working, but the important half is not working. It's like that type of deal. But you know, I just think it's an interesting thing to think about in terms of like ways that humans can exist beyond, you know,
it has similar
shells.
vibes to the quantum immortality kind of theory where like
you never
if you die in this one, your consciousness gets shoved over into the one of the countless, but the closest reality to the one you were in and where you survive.
It sounds so depressing to me that like we're all just going to slowly realize that we're the only person who's not going to ever die. And then the rest of our life exists beyond the normal lifespan of a human until we outlive the entire human race and all of Earth and everything. Kind of weird. It's like the ultimate vampire tragedy.
Yeah, right. It's the one vampire who never gets taken out by anybody else. Yeah, well, it is. I like thought experiments like that are fascinating in general to me. I love the idea of like, you know, what was that video game from the Amnesia creators that also has that kind of similar idea? They messed with the idea of what is it?
Soma?
Was it Soma?
Yes, Soma. Correct. Uploading yourself into a machine and launching yourself out into space and all that stuff.
It's a heavy game.
It's really fascinating.
But the thing about that game and the thing about all those things, even I think there was a Johnny Depp movie, is that's like the moral quandaries. It goes back to Star Trek Transporter. Is it you?
Is it you? Yeah.
If you're uploading yourself onto the internet, that's just your memories. That's not you.
Right.
That's just a computer being like pretending to be you, which is a whole other thing. So
if it is exactly you.
Well, then what you're asking is proof of a soul.
I mean,
that would be the only thing that differentiates you. If a computer is exactly you, what's the difference between meet you and computer you beyond potential?
Well,
soul?
If you're both existing at the same time.
Yes. Well, then you're two different people entirely. Yeah.
And more importantly, it's, you know, the you that is now the computer, it has a different reality than the you have because the computer is limitless and can do things you couldn't do. So now you have a different perspective. It would be like if you gave me some sort of superpower, I would not be Jesse I am now. I would use that shit for evil.
Well, at least you know you would use it for evil.
Yeah.
Would you spare us?
Well, I mean, what's my superpower? Right? If it's like, you know, name a superpower. I'll tell you how I'd use it.
Super strength.
Super strength. I would break. Am I bulletproof? Question.
No, you're just super strong.
All right. I would try out for a football team and I
Well, there you
would
go.
always I would be the best player on the team, and I
It's
would
not
make
evil,
a
though.
million.
That's just like, you're giving yourself a little selfish.
I would cheat my way onto a football team and make $1 million, and not
if you
I'd be
had-
like
What if you had the stretchy man powers?
stretchy man powers. How far do my stretches go?
Like,
It's like Mr. Fantastic
Fantastic, like infinite. You could
Oh,
become a blanket over all of New York.
From around the corner, rob people. I would like, yeah. And then I'd pull that purse back, and I'd be like, "Gotcha, old lady." Yeah,
I'm just thinking about the brain dances from Cyberpunk and what it would look like to like witness one of those robberies of just like a stretchy hand going like,
That's
It would
and
great.
then
be
you're
a
like, oh
horror
shit, something was
movie.
on TV.
yeah. Oh, I would use that as like, I'd go into porn. Right, I assume all of me goes really big. I do a whole thing. It'd be great.
Yeah, why not?
Why
Yeah,
not?
it's interesting to think about that. The paper like talks about like the idea of aiming for just close enough to your mind to like consider it resurrected. And I, you know,
maybe.
in that mindset, I'm like, what are we even talking about here now?
Yeah.
We're just talking about like saving data to a flash drive, right? Like
That's
you
true,
don't,
yes,
you're
that's
not,
exactly-
it's not your computer on the flash drive, right? It's just it's just the files.
Well, it's a combination, I would imagine, of your memories and then whatever you consider your soul, like the character of who you are. Because having your memories does not equal who, like, your motivation. Like, it doesn't, it's that nurture nature vibe. There's something in between the two. That's why the concept of a soul is universally popular, because there's something like, it's not just the memories you have. You can take you can make a clone of yourself, and that person's going to have a different reality than you. Something will be different about that person. So who knows?
I mean, that's it.
true.
I mean, that's true.
All right. We're going to move on. Jesse, not too long ago, you told us a dream that is recurring for you.
Oh boy,
And you asked for interpretations of
Did
said
we get
dream.
some?
Well, I have one for you right now, but from Reddit user Little Foxicorn, who has made their best attempt
So
to
ready for this.
interpret your dream. They said they apologize for their rough use of English, which it's fine, by the way. You did a great job,
Great.
but it's not their native language. But here we go, Jesse. I'm excited for this. Jesse's dream usually starts off with him knowing that whatever is about to follow is not real and that he is just, quote, along for the ride.
Yeah.
Next, the dream opens with an amorphous, interchangeable wife who wakes him up with different methods. He knows this is an actress. This tells him to get up, but at the same time prevents him from doing so by performing different kinds of gruesome operations on him. Jesse, however, remains calm under this. This passage might well signify the deeper trust issues Jesse copes with, and even the resignation Jesse feels toward his current situation. He wants a wife, he wants a life partner, but many of the previous people he encountered and will encounter in the future are in it for their own motives. They want Jesse the YouTube personality, Jesse the star, the always bubbly facade. They want the glitz and glam, but not the real him. Hence the operation, wanting to change him as soon as they have him, and the feeling of being held back that Jesse experiences in that dream.
I love
When Jesse when Jesse gets
this
up,
gets far too deep. They're like,
see how deep it
you
gets.
are dissecting me. You are the wife on top of me right now, cutting me open. Go on.
When Jesse gets up, he meets the butler, who might be a subconscious representation of himself. He offers choices. He helps make decisions. He leads Jesse to the hidden away remote with missing batteries that is a clear manifestation of wanting back control and the feeling of loss of that.
Holy shit. This is very good. Wow.
Butler Jesse helps him hide things from the fake wife and tries to get Jesse in control again, signifying a shift from being along for the ride, aka Jesse knowing that some of the women are only with him for their own motives, but him going along with it because he enjoys the company and feels relieved from the loneliness, that to wanting some measure of control. He starts to want the real thing, a real relation based on mutual attraction and respect, to be accepted as a whole. The missing battery indicates that yes, he wants control, but is not yet ready to fully take charge of the situation.
You're like the
Following
Great
this-
Gatsby.
Following this, we have the wife.
I'll be dead in a pool. I see it. I see it as clear as day. You're gonna find my ass face down in a pool, gunshot wound. It's happening.
Oh my God. Following this, we have the wife who pretends to be interested in his work and support his career. She encourages him to game, Jesse consecutively being actually in the game and killing it as well as getting enjoyment from it, is a reflection of his work ethic and him being good and happy with his chosen career. It is Dream Jesse being a happy workaholic. This eventually ends with Jesse finishing the game, his work, to find his fake wife sobbing because he, quote, killed their god. This to me seems a representation of some of Jesse's past breakups.
This is what I've been waiting for this whole time, is this bit of the interpretation.
Right? Him working so hard, the true life of a YouTuber, the dedication it takes, comes at a cost. The god stands for the fake relationship, the hopes and dreams the fake wife cherished, the false idol of what she thought dating an internet celebrity would be. She is in tatters because what she wanted and thought she got turns out to not be what she desired at all. And Jesse is distraught and Jesse is not distraught because he knows she was with him for the wrong reasons. He was just along for the ride. If Jesse ever hears about this or reads about it, I suggest him trying to do some lucid dreaming and look back at the remote of just around the room while this is happening. I would not at all be surprised if he found the missing batteries, aka him regaining control.
I mean, like, that's pretty, I think Alex can attest, that's pretty accurate to a lot of my love life. Where I'm like,
look, I think the interpretation is there in the text. I think you can derive this interpretation of Jesse's real life that is here in the text. Well, it's somewhat apt.
Yeah, I will say a lot of it is, one of my downfalls is I tend to not be like, yeah, all right, this relationship's fun, but like, I'm like, I got other stuff to do.
Which is one comment on this post from Reversed Posterior simply says, I have a simpler explanation. Cyberpunk, along with tons of fantasy and strange story-based games he's played over the years.
I mean, I think it can be a combination of both.
Right?
I definitely think that
your deeper desires.
Yeah, I definitely think I get in relationships where I'm like, I mean, this will be a thing, and then 6 months later, I'm like,
and that is just part of being human. Well, Jesse, on that deep interpretation, we hand it off to you.
Oh boy. Well, speaking of deep interpretations, let's get crazy today.
Great.
A powerful hallucinogenic drug known for its part in shamanistic rituals is being trialed as a potential cure for depression for the first time.
Yes, this is awesome.
Participants will be given the drug DMT followed by talking therapy. It is hoped this could offer an alternative to the significant number of people who don't respond to conventional pills for depression. Psychedelic-assisted therapy might offer long-term relief from symptoms, some researchers believe. A growing body of evidence indicates other psychedelic drugs, particularly alongside talking therapy, are safe and can be effective for treating a range of mental illness. This will be the first time DMT is given to people with moderate to severe depression in a clinical trial. Carol Rutledge, the chief scientific officer of Small Pharma, the company running the trial, said, "We believe the impact will be almost immediate and longer lasting than conventional antidepressants."
Whoa.
The drug, known as the spirit molecule, because of the way it alters the human consciousness and produces hallucinations that have been likened to near-death experiences, it is also the active ingredient in ayahuasca, a traditional Amazonian plant medicine used to bring spiritual enlightenment. Researchers believe the drug might help loosen the brain's fixed pathways, which can then be reset with the talking therapy. Miss Rutledge likened the drug to shaking a snow globe, throwing entrenched negative thought patterns up in the air, which allow therapy to resettle them into a more functional form. But this hypothesis still needs to be proven. The team is consulting Imperial College London, which runs the pioneering Center for Psychedelic Research. As part of the study, they hope to investigate whether the drug can be administered as a one-off or as part of a course. Subjects will be followed for at least 6 months to see how the effects of the treatment last. Meanwhile, ketamine-assisted physical therapies, therapies, in Bristol will open up next week. While the drug is already used for depression in clinics like the ketamine treatment service in Oxford, it is not accompanied by psychotherapy. Rather, it is to provide temporary relief from the symptoms of people who have various, treatment-resistant depression. So far, unpublished research presented at the conference by the professor of psychopharmacology at the University of Exeter, Celia Morgan, suggests ketamine, accompanied by therapy, has much longer lasting effects. And they also talk about how they're trying to do it with LSD and MDMA and all these other things to help with mental disorders.
Was good for something.
I don't want to sign on to that statement, but I do want to say that I think that this is the right track. I think that this type of therapy is real and good. And I will tell you a story really quick about one time when I was in San Jose and I booked an Uber to a dispensary, and the Uber driver, it was just me and them. And I was in San Jose, so the dispensary was kind of far away. And so we got to talking for a little bit because we were on the freeway, and she was like, I just got back. Look at this. And she pulled like a picture of like a beautiful baby girl out, and she was like, this is my new daughter. I just got back a week ago from a trip to the jungle where I was on a guided meditation with a shaman through 2 or 3 ayahuasca trips. And I had so many breakthroughs, and I've adopted this child, and we're going to have a life together, and I'm going to be a mother, and I'm just going to put my past behind me and just keep on moving forward. And I know that sounds crazy, but this woman was not in a weird place at all. She was like totally fine. And I was like mind blown hearing her talk. And it was just super crazy to hear somebody finally make the decision to drastically change their life after 1 or 2 sort of like very, very intense experiences like that, of that type.
I have said, because we have a mutual friend, Alex, who every so often goes out into the wilderness by himself in a tent.
I know this friend.
Like does shrooms.
Yes.
And like has a whole thing. And every time he comes back, he's like, I suffer from all sorts of anxiety and depression. And I will go out there and I will come back and be like, I have seen how the universe connects to my daily life. And every time I hear about his stories, I'm just like,
I want to do that.
For science, like I'm not suffering from any sort of like wild depression or anything like that, but I want to be connected to the universe on a level where I fundamentally change my reality. Like I want that
too.
I would do it for this podcast. Dude, I would let you recruit the whole
Let's
experience.
just roll mics and do acid, baby.
I would do it for the podcast. I would just be like, you could bring in a psychologist and let them just ask me questions. I would be like, let's go. Let's do this.
I would be so into doing something like that. And we could have like just a whole episode on just like what happened. And but I would definitely want it to be guided. Obviously, I wouldn't want to go in the woods by myself and be like, all right,
let's get together.
Shrooms it. Let's go.
Yeah, look, when we get that shot in our bodies and we can meet up again, we can guide each other.
I can't believe I haven't seen you boys in like a year now.
It's crazy.
Usually, at least I got out there once or twice a year.
Exactly. Just over 1 year. Last time we saw each other was February.
It was like March. It was like March 5th. Yeah. I was in Boston. I was smashing drinks. That's right. Shaking hands, hugging
PAX
everybody.
East. That's right. PAX East. Because I remember getting out of PAX East and like a couple days later, they're saying COVID was like in the East Coast.
We
and I'm
had
like,
to fly to London, and we were just like, should we do this?
Yeah.
Right.
Should we go?
Nuts.
And then thankfully, Davis was like, bro, I'm not even chancing it. And we were
are you
like,
kidding me?
all right.
Yeah.
No. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. And thank you so much for the support on Patreon. We'll be back next week with, for the main episode, part 2 of Alex's biggest cliffhanger, but some more fun little stories for our chill mini. Until
I got
then,
good ones.
We'll see you later.
Good ones. I got so many.
Ooh.
Bless.
Bye. Thank you to Stamps.com for sponsoring the episode. And thanks to Stamps.com, I no longer go to the post office. Are you still going to the post office? Still paying full price for postage? Well, thanks to Stamps.com, you don't have to anymore. Mail and ship anytime, anywhere, right from your computer. Send letters, ship packages, and pay a lot less money, with discounted rates for the USPS, UPS, and more. Stamps.com saves businesses thousands of hours and tons of money every single year. Running a small business means mailing things very often, and I was always at the post office. Running a small business means mailing things often, and for me that meant going to the post office multiple times a week. But that has been completely eliminated with Stamps.com, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Stop wasting time going to the post office and go to Stamps.com instead. There's no risk, and with my promo code CHILL, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type chill. Stamps.com, promo code chill. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again. Hello, my little Chilluminauts. Welcome back. Welcome back to Chill Mini 42, I think. It might be 43, might even be 44. Don't know anymore.
That's a lot of Chilluminis.
It's a lot of Chilluminis, and it's
Chilluminis are for the Chilluminati Awards at the end of the year. These are your Chilluminis.
I love it. Oh man. I'm just thinking of like an award show we could do as Chilluminati in some form. That'd be super fun.
We have to ask our Chilluminatians.
It has to be like community awards. We have to do like a community award show where we give people like best story where your body deconstructed and you became numbers.
Best dream. Best dream, best trip, best doppelganger.
Yeah.
I'm going to open this one up because the article's not going to take that long. It's more of an update on an episode we did a long time ago. So long ago, in fact, it was our very, very, very first episode on February 3rd, 2018.
Wow.
The Amityville horror episode.
I was just a boy back then.
Just a lad. We knew nothing.
Yeah.
But the update is Ronald DeFeo, the killer at Amityville, is now dead at 69 years old.
Damn.
Nice.
Ronald DeFeo Jr., the Long Island man serving a life sentence for slaughtering his parents and his 4 siblings in 1974. That would inspire, obviously, the movies, is now dead. His death was announced yesterday. This was about a week or so ago at this particular point. But just an update, by the end of his life, he was no longer pleading insanity and demons. And towards the end, he was actually trying to push it off on his sister, one of his dead sisters. He was trying to blame her for the reason that he was killing it. So for those who maybe don't remember the episode, initially he claimed that they were murdered due to connected to organized crime. He later then shifted to say that he was pleading guilty, and then that kind of spun out into possession, which then was elaborated on by media. And then after that didn't work, he started trying to blame his dead sisters for the fact that he had to kill them. Can you imagine
being someone who, at 69, at the end of your life, you're just like, I'm still not going to admit it.
Yep.
I'm still.
I can't imagine.
If I was in jail forever, I'd be like, yeah, I did it. What are they going to do? Give you more time?
Getting out of there?
Right, you're not getting out. You're not getting out. Like you're clearly not getting out. So he's officially passed. I just felt there was something worth kind of putting closure on. The very first book we opened on this show. That story is officially done now. Do you
think because there's like movies based on it that like he'll be in the slideshow at the Oscars this year?
I was going to say the movies. I thought you were going the direction because there's movies. You think that's why he was hanging on and never like.
I hate those slideshows. Those slideshows are a popularity contest for the dead. People clap loudest for certain people, and you're like, they're all dead. None of them care. What are you doing?
No,
stop this.
They have to get the live audio out of there. Yeah.
Well, that's my article. Short and sweet, boys. But that's what I got.
You love to see it.
Off to whoever wants
honestly.
to take it.
All right, so I got the greatest article headline of all time.
Oh, boy.
It's from a couple weeks ago. Scientists want to send 6.7 million sperm samples to the moon.
Oh, yeah. Near automata. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, basically. I mean, look, so apparently it's being referred to as a, quote, modern global insurance policy so that we have a repository of cells just in case we fuck up the Earth, right? We have the moon with all our sperm on it. basically, if we fuck up the Earth so much that we destroy all life on it, we want to have at least jizzed on the moon.
Wow. I hate that you
look. It's a right take because without eggs, it's kind of pointless. But whatever, you know.
Yeah, there was a team at the University of Arizona. They have a report that they submitted called "Lunar Pits and Lava Tubes for a Modern Ark" at something called the Annual Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Aerospace, or IAC, on Saturday.
Wow.
But he says apparently the planet's unstable, and so having the samples on Earth would be vulnerable for them. And there's something similar in Indonesia or something like that. Let me see. Wait.
I know there's an Arctic storage thing.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. It's in Spitsbergen in Norway. It's the Svalbard Global Seed Vault.
Yeah.
And it's a big concrete like future structure that looks like it's straight out of that Tom Cruise movie, whatever it's called, Oblivion. And it's literally in the Arctic Circle. There's almost 1 million different samples, and each one of them has like 500 seeds. So it's literally like there to like do whatever. And apparently it's like not that like expensive considering what it is.
It's just seeds they have to keep in case
body seeds, right? Mm-hmm. It would take to transport 50 samples of each species, because it's not just humans, it would be all types of sperm. 50 samples of each species would take 250 rocket launches, which, just to give you an idea, ISS to build it took 40. So the guy says It's not crazy big. We were a little bit surprised about that, which I feel like is crazy because launching 250 rockets is definitely not what I would describe as not crazy big. I don't know.
I love that that's their plan, but I have some worry that the moon's awfully close to whatever would destroy Earth. Just put it out there. There's a lot of scenarios in which Earth goes and the moon just comes along.
Yeah, if the monster inside the Earth wakes up, the moon is fucked.
Yeah.
If there's a big dragon inside
nothing for us.
Yeah.
If we're just like intergalactic space egg.
Yeah, or what if the moon is the egg for the monster, and then that thing below, the Cloverfield monster, comes and eats the Earth?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Then we're screwed. What if Thanos uses his hand
on the moon? It's going to fertilize the moon as an egg.
Gentlemen,
here's the thing.
I propose we jizz on the moon.
That is a Maury episode, because who would be the father?
Yeah,
who's the father?
Who do you get? Like, is it like George Clooney's jizz? Like, who do you get? Like who do you?
You know, Elon Musk's would go up there just simply because
be honored.
I would vote against that.
Honored.
I would too, but what would happen?
Sign me up. Put me up. Oh yeah, no, they'd make Jesse clones. I know.
You want to go up? You want to go up? You want to send the babies up?
Yeah, I'm not using them for anything. It's fine.
I don't know. If I definitely wouldn't donate them now, knowing that possibly like I could meet my son, who I like definitely created with my own sperm, but like I have no connection to. That would wild me out. I guess in the case of like Earth blew up and these people like
I wouldn't be here. What the hell do you care?
I guess in that case I wouldn't mind. Am I getting paid? I would if I needed to get paid. If I got paid for it, I'd pretty much jizz anywhere.
You don't even have to pay me.
Yeah, that's the real truth.
I don't even need to tell
I'm
where
only
to go.
jizzing if the aliens are taking it out of me.
If you get me Chipotle, I'll jizz in your bathroom. You know what I mean? Like I'll
help you.
I'll leave a sample.
You're a cheap date. Yeah, I got you.
Oh my God. All right, Jesse, take us out of this jizz nightmare.
Well, my story is a little more, I guess actually it's kind of related to what we're talking about in a roundabout way, because who knows what's inside the Earth. In a recent scientific paper, it was once again posited that there is something in the Earth and we don't know what it is. There is a hidden layer, and no one can tell us what exactly this hidden layer is. For a long time, scientists have thought that there might be something hidden inside the Earth's solid inner core, because the inner core, right? The thing right in the middle is so damn hot, right? The way, like there is something, like there's the inner core, then there's this inner core, and then there's all that damn magma and crap in there. The liquid outer core, which is like 1,800 miles long or deep, whatever. It's all this liquid metal, and it's really hard for us to kind of, we can't go into it. There's no way we can actually see what's in there. So we, have thought about this since about the 1980s. And because there's no way to actually get into the inner core and see what's going on in there.
Hasn't Russia been drilling like a special drill for fucking years, and they like it keeps breaking in the part where they can't get past it or whatever?
There's a lot of weird stuff going on. And we've had to use sort of earthquakey waves to detect, sending it from one side of the planet to the other, and sort of seeing how long it takes to pass through the different parts of the. I like how I'm doing it with my hands. For some reason, no one can see it. But we're sending like the whoop, 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 through the planet to see what's going on there. And using
like,
these
Sir,
waves.
It seems to be vegan 3-bean chili. It's crazy. It needs salt, sir. It needs salt and a lot of hot sauce.
And then, we're trying to recreate an image of what these waves are passing through. And strangely, when waves pass through the core from north to south, they travel faster than when waves passed parallel along the equator. No one knows exactly why this is, but it's an oddity enough that they've really decided to like dig into it. And for the last 2 decades, it's been very unclear why this is the case, but they're starting to see some possible answers. So they have a data set of about 100,000 earthquake waves that pass through the core and applied an algorithm to it to search for the best physical explanation as to what the hell is going on. And what they found was that the inner core, right, the very heart of our planet, starting about 400 miles ish from the exact center, there is something a little bit off, and there's this like noise in the data they don't quite understand. And to them, it means that the core is much more complex than we ever knew before. And, it could be anything from like iron crystalline structures to like crazy metal things that we don't quite understand yet.
Kingdom of reptilian conquerors that are
that's what's happening. I'm telling you.
And so they said, it's this, there's something strange going on there, but the best we can say is that there's just another layer that is, just like the planet. Because if you look at Earth, we aren't exactly perfectly a ball, right? Like around the equator, we're a little fatter than we are at the top. And so the same thing is going on inside the planet, where there's something in there that's, very similarly shaped around the core, and they don't quite know what it is. But it's also one of those things that, I hate to break it to Land of the Lost people. It's like underneath the magma layer. So it would be so effing hot that anything that lived there would be constantly, very sweaty. So who knows? Who knows what's in there? But they're like, it could be, sometimes you think of those, if you open up a rock and you see like this beautiful crystalline world inside, right? They're like, it could be like that. We don't know. It could be amazing. We will never in our minds be able to exactly describe what's happening in that layer, but it could be crazy.
Amazing crystal, and it's like giant crystals all over the place.
Who knows what it is?
Just gonna stay up late and think about the planet shattering apart every night forever.
Just like open it up and look inside. Yeah. And so there's a hidden layer, and they're just discovering that it exists now. So there you go.
Oh my God, Mighty Max. I haven't thought of that since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And Polly Pocket. Let's be real.
Oh, well, Polly Pocket.
Let's be real. Same shit. Polly and Max.
It was, yeah.
They might have been the same person. I don't know what the deal was with them two.
They were dating, okay?
Yeah. No, they weren't. Polly Pocket only dated Jesse Coxick. Anyway.
Oh my God.
That's it for that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's it for the minisode then. Thanks so much, everybody, for your wonderful support on Patreon. We appreciate it. We will see you guys next week. Well, actually, since this is a back-to-back, we'll see you in like a couple minutes for another one.
If you're already a patron, this is a big weekend for you, baby.
Yeah, it is. See you in a minute. Thanks to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode. And I've said it a bunch before, and I'm just going to keep on saying it. Magic Spoon allows me to be a kid in the morning every day. Growing up, cereal is one of the best parts of being a kid because you got all those sugary, sweet stuff in the morning thinking it was, healthy for you when it wasn't. And now as adults, we're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors that you love and grew up with, but without all that bad stuff in it. I've been trying to cut down on all my carbs, sugars, and all that unhealthy eating, and realized I basically can't eat anything anymore. But with Magic Spoon, it adds some life to my meals. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. Only 140 calories a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. You can also build your own box with available flavors to build your own custom bundle. The available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and maple waffle. Go to magicspoon.com/chill to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code CHILL at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/chill and use code CHILL to save $5 off. Thanks to Magic Spoon for sponsoring. Hello, my little Chilluminati.
Oh, wow.
You know, how come sometimes it's fine and sometimes it's like,
I don't know.
Because I think you find it a little bit sexy. And sometimes you get caught being like, who's this? And then you remember it's Mathis and you're like, oh, no.
First of all, that should make you even more excited. Not turn you off. But I think Alex is right. I think there's a party that gets a little tickled every time I say it. So,
I'm not tickled.
Depends on how good your headphones are. If they got that good bass, you know what I'm saying?
and we know Jesse's a big audiophile, so he's getting the good.
Jesse's still subscribed to Tidal. He's in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm excited because it's kind of a user story / submitted thing, heavy minisode. I've got a report that I would like to read. And I know Alex has got a story, and I don't know what Jesse's brought. So I'm going to start with the UFO report. So this was actually dropped by a Reddit user. This was a UFO report from 1974 that their whole family saw on a car ride. They got so spooked, they reported to the cops, and they went to the local UFO researchers of their area, and this is the report that they gave. I find it fascinating because I actually now get to see the kinds of questions anybody who sees a UFO kind of is given by them, but there's some interesting descriptions of the craft and just the encounter itself. So I'm just going to go through the questions they were asked, the answers they gave, and a little outline. It's about 3 pages long, but not too bad because it's just like yes or no questions. So it starts with if the object itself was falling to the ground, if it was traveling, what it was, if it was traveling across the sky, how it was moving. And they answered it was falling to the ground straight down. How many objects were seen and what did they look like? Be specific. 1 object. The approximate height of the object was about 100 feet above the tree line of the hill it disappeared behind. This was over, by the way, the location was at Yukon exit on the I-70. Let's see. Approximately 100 feet above the tree line is where it disappeared. Give an indication of the size of the object compared to something similar. And they say, I would say it was slightly larger than a small plane, like a Cessna, and the color of the object was red. Was the object the entire time the same color? Yes. What was the brightness of the object compared to, say, a star? And they say see sheet 3 for comparison. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Did the object appear solid? No. Was light emitted from the inside or the outside? They say it was the outside. Did light seem to stay the same intensity at all times? Were any lights flashing and visible? Same intensity, no flashing lights. It seemed steady in the air, no appearance of any wobble whatsoever. No exhaust or jet stream was visible. Did the object continually move? Yes. It observed it falling to the ground until it disappeared behind a hill. How long did you observe the object? Approximately 2 seconds. Was there any indication of intelligent control? They said none. Were any physical marks, residue seen? No. And if so, what direction were you traveling? They were traveling down the I-70, but the object did not stop.
This is in Pennsylvania?
Drawing. The I-70, I guess that would be in Pennsylvania.
The exactly. Yukon exit?
Yep, it is Pennsylvania. Yep, you are correct. And that is the Yukon exit. A little bit lower, they actually have a little bit of a drawing where they saw the red lights on the object. It wasn't just a giant red ball, but there were 5 red lights, 2 on the right, 2 on the left, and 1 in the center. And they kind of draw that out for it. But here's the actual remarks. I'm just going to read the actual the whole encounter. Our family was returning home on Sunday evening after spending Easter Day with our families at blank and blank's place.
Very timely little issue. Yeah.
Right, isn't it? We were traveling east on the I-70 with myself driving, my wife next to me, and my daughter next to her, all in the front seat of the car. My other 3 children were in the back seat. Our car is a 1970 Olds 98 4-door sedan with lots of room and a big front window. So all we had was we all had a good line of sight. Just before crossing the first bridge at the Yukon exit, my wife yelled, "Oh my God, what is that?" I caught sight of the object about the same time she did because I saw it before she completed the sentence. My first reaction was a quick statement to the family. that's a plane going down. However, my wife said, I think it's a UFO. We caught sight of the object at a line of sight of approximately 11, and it appeared to be about 100 feet above the tree line on a hill. I initially thought the thing was coming down on the near side of the hill, and frankly, I was a little surprised when it disappeared behind the tree line of the hill. I thought it was a small plane coming down because I mistook the red lights for fire, but it really didn't look like fire since there were no trailing flames or smoke, and it was not completely engulfed in flames. The red lights were concentrated in the areas shown in the sketch, which is I kind of explained above. I did not make out any metallic substance of the object at all. I keep referring to this as a singular object because that is how it appeared to me at all times. It did in fact look like a singular object, but I must say I do not remember seeing anything resembling a connecting structure that tied the lights together. It could be that these lights were in fact separate entities, and the closeness of the pattern and formation gave the impression that it was in fact a single object. In any case, we observed this object for a couple seconds until it disappeared behind the hill, and we continued traveling at the same rate of speed, approximately 55 miles an hour. When we got to the top of the next hill, we tried to see some evidence of a fire or crash where we thought it might be, but saw nothing. When we continued home, where I immediately called the state police. One further comment, this object did not fall from a high elevation. It just seemed to appear. Nothing was there, and then all of a sudden it was there. Our line of sight was such that if it would have fallen from a higher altitude, we would have caught sight of it before we did. The highway is almost straight as an arrow at that point, so we basically had the same line of sight for approximately 1 minute or so before we did catch sight of it. And that's the end of the report. And I just thought it was interesting.
I love
Sounds
how
like
detailed. Sorry, go for it.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I love how detailed the actual questionnaire is.
Yes, I actually left out a whole page of questions.
I think that's
that was
fascinating that they are just like, this is like, describe this. Was it this or this? How would you describe?
Yeah, let me.
I think that's like really genius the way that they've set that up, because it does ask questions that you can immediately be like, that was a plane, or that was like, it's very smart. I think that's amazing.
Sounds straight out of the Robert Taylor case or something like that.
I'll give you a few more of the questions. It's like, was there any loss or dimming of the lights? Was there any radio or TV interference? Were there any noticeable animal disturbances?
So cool.
Have you had any period of time you can't account for? Have you had any unusual nightmares since your sighting? If so, explain. Did you see a beam of light emit? While the object was under observation, did you notice sun or the moon?
How many natty lights did you drink? Yeah.
Right. Do you have any knowledge of astronomy's one? Like, it just goes on, and it really, really details like what they did.
Damn, that's so
I just
neat.
thought that was really fascinating. The report itself, even if the sighting itself is it's interesting, but it's hard to say whether that was a meteor or something coming down.
It's a very standard UFO sighting.
Yeah, very like
sure.
out of nowhere. It was quick, and it disappeared behind a hill or a tree line and stuff. So thank you very much out there to the user who dropped that. I apologize. I clicked off of the actual link, so I don't know your name anymore. It's gone, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Who wants to take it next?
Oh,
I have a story, and then what do you have, Jesse?
I have something fun for the users. For the users, I fight for the users. No, for the listeners.
Reboot.
I have something fun for the listeners.
Cox Legacy. All right. Well, I'll read my story, and then we can leave it with a call to action. How about that? That's good SEO, right?
Let's do it.
Okay. So this is called Stories from El Salvador, and this is by V. Urbina. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it. Can't wait to read this. Hey everyone, I just started listening to the podcast and currently listening to the Latin American folk tales, and I have two that my family have told me over the years about the same quote-unquote ghost called the Siwanaba. Siwanaba is not spelled in a way that I normally would be able to pronounce that one try, so luckily they allowed me a pronunciation guide, which I'm very thankful for. My entire family is from El Salvador. Both of these are from my dad's side of the family and come from two family members. Story one is about my biological grandfather, who I've never met, and neither has my dad. This was a story that was told about him. This is pre-1950s. My grandfather was known as a womanizer, and that he couldn't pass up hitting on women. So basically like Jesse. So one night he was coming back. So one night he was coming back from drinking at either a local bar or from a party on horseback when he was descending down the mountain that the town is built on. He notices a woman on the side of the road leading down and stops to talk to her. She was supposed to be very beautiful, and he had to stop. It was dark, and she said she needed help to get back to the main part of town. The road in front of them was covered in darkness, and he said if she got on the horse, he could give her a ride back. She agreed and climbed on behind him, and they headed down the path. They got to talking as they were riding down when all of a sudden the woman stopped talking to him. Then she wrapped her arms around him, and he thought that he closed the deal. She began holding him tighter and tighter, and then when he turned around to get her to losses up her face.
What happened?
I think he meant like. I think that was meant to be get her to loosen up on the grip, loosen up.
She began to hold him tighter and tighter. When we turned around to get her to loosen up, her face changed to a very ugly woman. She then yelled out that she isn't letting go and he was hers. And in fear, he made the horse gallop down the path as she cackled. They both fell off the horse as they got to town. He was able to get up from the fall and noticed the woman began to walk away from him, cackling into the night. And the next day, apparently, he had a fever and was sick the next few days. He never saw that woman again.
Yikes. That would be terrifying.
That is a open and shut, like scary stories to tell in the dark style.
Really? Yeah.
Ghost story. You know what I mean? Like it's not directly one from that book, but I just mean it has that sort of like movie style creepiness, right?
I don't understand the creep factor there. Me, if she was holding on tight and I turned around, she was like, I'm never letting go. I'd be like, damn right, girl. That'd be it.
Found the one.
That'd be it. She'd be like, no. Yeah, she's like, no. And I'd be the one cackle laughing like, yeah.
You're going to out freak the ghost?
Yeah, I'm going to out freak the ghost. What?
Okay, story 2. My family lived on a compound in the town, meaning that all family members were living in houses next to each other with a common middle area. Some of the buildings had a wall or fence between them. My cousin, who was around 13 at the time, went out after dark to use the bathroom. My family is all told the kids not to be going out at night because it is dangerous. He decided that it was fine because he was just going to take a leak. He stopped a nearby tree that was next to a wall and did his business. And then he heard a woman's voice, which startled him. He began to look around and could see no one. And he began to hear laughing and looked up to the wall near him. And he saw a woman he had never seen before. And he was frozen in fear and he could not scream. Next thing he noticed was that his dad came up running, gun in hand, and grabbed my cousin. As he grabbed my cousin, he started firing his gun towards the woman and also told my cousin to turn around and don't look back. The woman disappears after that. He says he can still remember what the woman's laugh sounded like, and it haunts him.
Yikes. Well,
good Lord.
Was she ugly?
I wonder what this is about. Right? Like, why does this woman got to be like, I don't know. How come no one's going to go talk to her? Like, hey,
she's
what's
a cautionary tale, right? Like,
about
it's
what?
classic. It's a classic tale to scare people from talking to people on the road.
I guess, but this isn't a house. This is like in the courtyard of a house in like housing complex.
I guess, but I mean, I don't know what the situation is. Like, you know, like I, for example, walked through like four neighborhoods today just on my walk, you know, and I'm not a scary demon ghost girl, so it's fine. But like, you know, if I was, I'd still be scared if it was in my neighborhood.
That's what I've heard about you. You're a demon ghost girl.
I bet you I look homeless from a distance at the very least. Like maybe like you see me from far away and you think, what is this guy doing? Oh no, he's just a guy who lives in his house in COVID. Oh, okay.
I don't know. Thankfully we're in LA.
COVID, man.
There's a lot of like wannabe Alexes in this city. So, you know, from a distance it's like, that's just Alex.
You think you think most homeless people are me is what you're saying.
That's not what I
You're like, oh shit, is that Alex sitting under that bridge?
Shit.
No, I can never mistake. I can never mistake you for someone who's homeless. I've been in your house.
Oh, that's true. I do have a house. That's that's one key. That's one of the deciding factors.
In your home. Yeah.
It's one of the hints that they have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
Well,
that's
thank you
great.
so much for the stories. Jesse, it's up to you to wrap it up.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. And this goes out to these two gentlemen as well. So I am, this is going to sound weird, but in my life goals, we'll say, I have discovered that, you know, this period of us being stuck at home turns out not to make you the happiest, right? People are depressed and like kind of messed up. And yeah. So one of the things I discovered, and this was actually a very good friend of mine told me that she took this, and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, she's like, trust me, It literally changed how I view a lot of things during this pandemic BS, and I just want to send it to you. So I'm going to give this link to the boys here, but this was recommended to me by
Can't wait for this.
a very good friend. There is a Yale course that's totally free. You can enroll whenever you want.
Financial aid is available.
But it's a totally free course. It's called The Science of Well-Being. And just a little descriptor of this course. In this course, you will engage in a series of challenges designed to increase your own happiness and build more productive habits. As preparation for these talks, Professor Laurie Santos reveals misconceptions about happiness, annoying features of the mind that lead us to think the way we do, and research that can help us change. You will ultimately be prepared to successfully incorporate a specific wellness activity into your life. Right. So by the end of it, you'll have something moving forward. It says it takes about 19 hours to complete the total thing. You obviously don't have to do it all right away. It's this thing where 3 million people have already taken it, and it's totally free. You just sign up and you're just taking a course, right?
It's like a 20-hour course. It's not even that bad.
Yeah. And just to give you an example, because I'm all about the freebies for kids out there, here's another link that I'm going to send to these boys. This is one of the very first activities they ask you to do. Go to the VIA Institute on Character. It is a VIA character strengths survey.
Oh my God.
The VIA survey is the online free scientific survey of character strengths in the world. Take it. It's 15 minutes long and discover your greatest strengths.
They're going to be
Research
like, maybe you
shows
didn't need to buy all those comic books this year, man.
Yeah, research shows that knowing and using your character strengths can help you increase your wellness and inner happiness and well-being, find meaning and purpose, boost relationships, manage stress and health, accomplish goals. Basically, it's 15 minutes long. You sit down, you take this thing, and by the end of it, you learn kind of like what your main strength is. And it's like, stop trying to do other people's strengths, focus on your own and like hone that. And so once you know what your strength is, once you know what you're best at, you can hone that specific skill in your life and become the best at that thing. And that can help increase your productivity and your happiness. Yeah. And that leads into this course. So if you don't want to take the whole course, just take the 15-minute thing and figure out like where you should be focusing, and you will have some clue. And so I give that to the audience out there to look at. Hopefully you will have these either on the Reddit or in the podcast itself. And there are links. Enjoy.
What a wonderful little positive thing to end on, Jesse.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure that these are posted in the obviously for the Patreon minisode. If you are listening to this and at some point in the future this is in a freebie one and you're actually interested, if you could just leave a comment or something, I'll make sure we get the links out there, and I'll just so I remember to put it in the descriptor. But that'll wrap it up for us. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back next week with another minisode for y'all, following whatever episode next week's ends up being.
Bless.
We thank you so much for listening. See you then. Bye-bye. Anyway, me and my wife were sitting outside indulging on our porch one night, enjoying ourselves. I needed to go to the bathroom, so I stepped back inside, and after a few moments, I hear my wife go, "Holy shit, get out here." So I quickly dash back outside, and she's looking up at the sky in awe. I look up too, and there's a perfect line of dozen lights traveling across the sky.